Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about this Dewalt planer. It's kind of a beast. It's model dw735. And I bought this for a specific reason, but we're just going to go over some of the basics and what most people use it for. And then I'm going to get into why I use it and why I purchased this thing. So if you like what you see today, don't forget to click that subscribe button, hit that bell icon if you want to be notified every time we're putting out fresh content. And for those of you that want to learn how to bend deck boards, don't forget to go check out Dr. Deck's Masterclass. Learn everything you need to know about becoming a heat bender just like me. All right, so check this thing out. So I used to have an older version of this planer back in the day, and I used to do a lot of cedar decks and a lot of wood decks, and I was always wanting to clean the surface up of certain boards because sometimes lumber comes from the lumberyard, it gets all scratched up and dinged up, or forklift marks or black tannin marks on cedar isn't always the greatest. So I was using a planer to clean up some of my boards back in the day. Now what I'm using this Dewalt planer for mostly is to shave down PVC deck boards. When I heat them up, they expand a little bit, and if I'm putting a surface border right through the middle of a deck and I have boards coming this way and a surface border going this way, usually my surface border is taller than the field boards because the field boards I'm not manipulating, but that curved board obviously I did. So it gives a little bit of elevation sometimes, and you can feel that underfoot. So I try to plane down the PVC. The problem is PVC is really abusive to a planer, and it takes a lot of passes to even get an 1/8 inch back down out of a board. Maybe 7 to 8 passes, and I'm trying to plane a curved 20-foot board through a planer. It can be a little funky and real tricky, but what I want to go to first is just the basic functions of this planer, and then get into what it's used for and how it cleans up wood, and then we'll talk about the PVC. All right? Okay, so basically what I like about this planer, it's got 4 columns that the planer elevates up and down on, so you can be assured that this thing is going to stay on track because these are spirals, and there's a dial over here that you can raise and lower. You can see right here, 1 revolution equals 1/16 of an inch, and then it says raise this way and lower this way, and it just turns like so to raise it up or lower it down. There's a couple convenient carrying handles. Now this thing is heavy. It's like 90 pounds, I think. So sometimes I get an extra hand to carry it, especially if we're going a long distance with it. But for today, I just picked it up off the bench, stuck it on this table. It has a little bit of an in-feed table and a little bit of an out-feed table, but not too much. My old one had a little bit longer ones. They folded up. If you're using this a lot, you may subset it into some kind of a table set if you have room in your cabinetry shop or something like that. For me, this thing's a little more mobile. It has great power feed, and there is a depth gauge right here that lets you know what you're cutting when you're cutting it. If this thing's springing up into this area, you're grinding pretty hard. So with PVC, I'm just barely taking anything, but you might be able to take up to an 1/8 inch in real softwoods, but I don't know. And then it has 2 settings. One is for fine finish work, and one's for more of a conventional rough cut. So this side gives you 96 cuts per inch, and this one gives you 170 cuts per inch. So if you want to do a more fine finish, so we'll go through both of those. I don't know how sharp these blades are because like I said, I've been cutting PVC with it, and that's really difficult on the planer. So I'll start here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this old board through, and I'm going to try to find the depth first. So I always run my board through, like what I'll do is I'll raise this up so I can shove my board through the planer before I turn it on. And then I'm going to lower this thing down till where it just starts to catch. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it through. I'm going to turn the machine on. I'm going to run it through. And if it doesn't hit, then I'll just keep slowly adjusting this until I get the cut I want. All right, so here we go. Oh, wait. Always use your personal protective eyewear and hearing protection when you're doing this because it's very loud. It can hurt your ears and also mess up your eyes if you get wood shavings in them. Okay, that was a nice rough cut. So you can kind of see how it really cleaned up this 2x4. But now I'm going to put it on a finish cut and see if we can get some of these divots out of the board. I don't know if it'll work or not, but these blades might be a little dull. So I'm going to switch it over to 1. And I'll run another light pass through and see how we do. All right, so you can kind of see that it took out a lot of the divots through the middle. Sometimes on the ends of your boards, you got to be careful how you feed them because you can get a little bit of burn from the rollers on the inside of the planer. But that turned out pretty nice. Probably took a little bit more than I thought I was going to, but from starting when it looking like this to looking like that, that's what I was going for usually when I'm working with wood and you have some different planer marks and stuff. But you got to be careful about the thickness. And usually I would try to grade things from like boards that were nice that didn't need any planing. I'd use all those in one area, and then if I had to plane some boards out, I would do it to thickness so I could get everything looking really good like this. So that's what a traditional planer does. It levels out and smooths out and beautifies wood. Now, for the reason I purchased this planer, here's a bent deck board. And here's a straight deck board. All right? This board has not been modified, but this board has. And you can see the difference in the thickness between these two boards. Okay? So what I usually use the planer for is to try to get this down to this thickness. After heat manipulation, usually there's some elevation change. So what I'm going to do is show you how I do that now with this planer. And it's going to be really loud, and it's going to be really obnoxious. It's going to throw a lot of sawdust. All right, so let's get that going on. All right, so the one thing that I do not like about this planer is that when you're running a lot of PVC through it, it will overheat the circuit and trip it. So there's a reset button right here, and I've pushed this thing about 5,000 times trying to get this thing to reset, and it takes a certain amount of time. I've ran compressed air on it, trying to run compressed air through the motor to cool it down, and I'm taking maybe a quarter turn on this planer just to take an ever so slight amount. Now we're only running a really short piece, but if you're running 20 footers through this thing, you're going to overheat, and then you have to shut it down. So I don't want to bypass the circuit or modify the tool, but it's just something you kind of have to deal with. I am also going to turn this back over to the rough cut because it does not matter on the bottom of a PVC deck board. It's not going to matter that I'm cutting 180 or 60 cuts per run, revolution, whatever. It doesn't matter. So let's run this through a few times, and so I can kind of show you how much sawdust we can make and what a mess we can make and how loud it is. I don't know if you guys will be able to tell how loud this thing is. My neighbors will be able to, though. And we're inside my shop. Pretty fluid motion on this dial. The other one had a hand crank on top, and it wasn't as nice as this one. So we'll definitely put our ears back in. And studio man, you got your ears in? Yeah, you're going to need them. Okay, here we go, guys. You see how much sawdust this created on this board, but just wait to see how much sawdust this created on a PVC board. Okay, here we go. I told Calvin it was going to be loud. Look at the mess we made, too. Loud and messy. All right, so you see how much work that was just to get a piece of PVC shaved down, and I don't even know if it's the right height yet, but you can see how nice and flat the bottom of this board is now, right? And you can see how kind of wonky the top is. This is actually a defective piece that I messed up on a couple weeks ago, but we thought it'd be a great sample to show you guys. So now I'm going to take this board. Sorry. Oh yeah, see, now they're the right height. So now when you walk across this, in your bare feet, you're not going to notice that elevation change. And those are some of the small details that we do here at Dr. Decks that a lot of other guys won't. Of course, we're also doing something that not a lot of guys do, which is called deck board bending. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you understand more about this planer and how it works. If you like what you saw, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon if you want to be notified every time we're putting out fresh content. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.